Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Pixelated Podcast, the only sequel guaranteed to be better than the first. Thank you for tuning in again. We've got another great show for today. For news this week, we've got the long-awaited release of Destiny 2. We've got a new Bethesda game in the works, or maybe not, and the illustrious return of Detective Cole Phelps. After that, we'll get into a little bit of a discussion about an interesting situation with a memorial tribute in the forthcoming Middle-earth Shadow of War. Now, as always, I am your host, Max Smith, self-proclaimed editor-in-chief of Pixelated, and I am, of course, joined by my co-host, Alphonso Crawford.
Yo, let's do it.
How you doing,
Let's
man?
get into the second episode. I'm ready. I've been excited. I know we did one episode and then we missed a week. But
Yeah,
I felt
right.
like the fans. I felt like the fans were thirsty. You know?
Yeah, the fans are. I mean, they're begging for a new episode of the Pixelated Podcast. I mean, come
for
on.
sure, man.
It's the number one new podcast out there. You
Yeah.
probably got 5 listeners now, maybe up from 3.
Can we actually see the metrics on that? Actually, I don't.
You know, I've been trying to look, and I don't know how it works, if I'm being totally honest with you. I tried, but I think I read on the website or whatever, it says that to protect people's privacy, they will hide information until you get to a certain threshold. Basically meaning that, you know,
makes sense.
if there's only 2 people listening, they don't want me to know what 2 people it is, which is probably a
Right.
smart idea. So,
Yeah, that's smart. So
Yeah.
they're pretty much saying like any other social media, like we have to be verified. Once
Yeah,
we're verified,
exactly.
they'll start talking to us. So
yeah, we're not
Okay.
popular enough to get that information yet, and then maybe one day we will.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So what's new with you? Anything exciting?
Not much. I just been playing through, still playing through Last of Us. Surprisingly,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not that long
Nice.
of a game, but it's
Yeah, Naughty Dog
difficult.
games are never really all that long, right?
Yeah, no, it's just that it's a little difficult because I'm playing on a little bit of a harder. I'm one of the harder difficulties. So, with the way it works is like I don't have issues with the zombies or like clickers or any of them shits. But
Yeah.
I have issues with the actual like settlers and people like that. And I have
Okay,
issues
yeah.
with ammo, right? So
Yeah,
and
and
I
it's
keep
always
running
one of
into
those kind
these-
of games where there's no ammo, right?
Exactly. I keep running into these situations where it's like I turn a corner and it's like, oh, I'm being sneaky. I see like 10 guys ahead. Like I can hear them. And then I mess up and I get spotted by someone and I have like 3 rounds on me. And the game also like gives you loot or ammo in like a interesting way where it's like environmental stuff is like static, right? Like you know that this shotgun's going to be here in this corner in
Yeah.
this like room or something, like a cupboard or something. But when loot drops off of enemies, right, it's random. So
Okay.
one playthrough, you'll kill someone and he'll drop like 4 rifle rounds. The next playthrough, he'll drop nothing. So like I'm also pretty much at the mercy of like a random number generator to get through some of these parts.
Yeah.
There's just nothing I can do about that. So
Yeah. I've been starting to get into more of those kind of survival-esque games after I played Alien Isolation, which I really liked. That game scared the shit out of me, but I really liked it. And that game is kind of similar, like where you have, you know, limited resources. That game's very much about hiding, though, not combat. So you really barely get any ammo for your weapons at all. But when you do, it's, you know, really scarce. And beyond that, now I've been playing Metro, and that's the same way. And I'm playing it on Ranger mode, which my buddy recommended, and it's just a lot harder. But it makes it so you can't see how much ammo you have, and ammo that you find doesn't, like, you know, have the little glowing light around it or whatever, like a lot of games.
Right.
You just have to kind of see that amongst this shit heap of trash in the old Metro that you're in, that there's a little clip for like an AK on there, and it's really tough. And you never know when you're going to run out of ammo because your guns just have some unknown amount. So you'll be in the middle of combat fighting these giant mutated rats, and then all of a sudden you're like, ah, shit, I have no ammo. I guess I'm dead. And it's,
Yeah, for sure.
It's pretty bad.
those are 2 games I definitely keep on my backlog. It's like they're
Yeah.
up there, and I know I really want to play them, and especially after seeing that new Metro with the all those 4K,
Right. That's what made me buy
all
these.
those
I saw
4K
that trailer.
assets. And, man, that game looks fucking beautiful.
Right.
But I don't know. I gotta just make the time to play it.
Yeah, I saw that trailer and I was like, okay, I need to play these games. And then during the summer sale, I think both games were on sale, like 2033 and Last Light for $750, like total. So I was like, oh, I can't not buy that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a crazy deal. I get pretty much all my games these days on like really cheap sales because I haven't bought a brand new game in a little while.
Yeah, it makes sense. The sales, it's a good time. It's a good time to be a gamer with these digital sales.
Yeah, seriously. Any other games you've been playing that's been exciting?
Pretty much just that. I know I jumped into. I spent some time playing like the Call of Duty beta.
Okay, and how was it? I know we were talking about it 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah, so I've always been a huge Call of Duty fan until you started like jetpacking around and all that. Like once my hands couldn't keep up, like I was out.
Yeah.
So I think it was really good. It was nice to just be. It's weird. I'm actually kind of torn because it's like on one side I'm just rewarding like mediocrity, but on the other side I actually really do enjoy it. So it's like the things that I enjoyed about the game are things that really weren't new. And things that should always be there, but I'm just appreciative to feel them again. Like, I'm on the ground. The
Boots on the ground, as they say.
The guns are relatively pretty balanced. There's a couple things that could be a little annoying. Like, there was a shotgun that has, like, incendiary rounds or something. I don't know. I'm questioning the historical accuracy. Don't really remember that too much, but I'm not a World War II expert either.
Yeah, right. I don't remember them having flamethrower shotguns, but who knows?
Yeah, because the round comes
Maybe
out.
I was asleep that day in class.
It's like on impact, then you catch on fire. So I'm like, that would be some pretty good tech. I don't know who had I don't know what side of the war had that first or who had that, but I'm hoping it was on the winning side because I don't see how you lose with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was good. It was nice. I think the map design was pretty well. The kill streaks are great, but they're great because they're normal. Like, they're great just because I feel like I'm back on, like, Modern Warfare 2, but not, like, Harrier Strike Modern Warfare 2, where it's like you have a fucking... Harrier Strike was, like, a helicopter and, like, I forgot the missile barrage, or I forgot what... Or the airstrike put in one, which... So, you don't have anything that ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's pretty consistent, like, UAV, care package, you have like the Predator missile kind of thing, which is actually pretty difficult to use, surprisingly, because it moves really fast. And yet you don't have control of it because it's kind of just like a bomb dropping from like a air carrier.
Which makes sense. You couldn't precisely control that in a World War II game.
Yeah, and then there is a perk for like a kill streak for like a Gatling gun or something from a plane, which kind of is like the helicopter AC-130 kind of thing. But I personally, this is another thing I noticed about COD. I haven't played a first-person shooter on a console in a very long time.
Oh,
so I went from, not to brag, but, normally the best in the game, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Normally the best.
I bet.
I wasn't doing that great. So, but it was good. It was refreshing. Like, it kept me playing because I wasn't doing great. So, yeah. I liked it. I think, as of now, I'm thinking about purchasing it. Just to kind of have like a wild card in the fall.
Yeah, I need you to see me on Splatoon so you can really see who's the best in the game.
I am pretty sure that is another game. Like I said last podcast, I really do want to play it. But I played like the test fires. I don't know, man. Those motion controls, I give people credit. It's like that's a whole different ball game. I don't know how you do that.
Yeah, though I will say, last week we missed the podcast because I was on vacation. And I took my Switch with me, which is the first time I've ever really taken my Switch on vacation or taken it like out of the house other than when I went camping with it. And I played a lot of Splatoon, like single player, like on planes and whatever while we're sitting around. But I didn't play very much multiplayer. And I was just playing before we started recording. And I will say that I was getting washed because I haven't played in, like a week. And it's only a week. And I was immediately getting washed already. I was like, come on. I thought I had this down.
It seems like one of those games, right? And the competitive community is actually pretty big. And I see, that's all it takes, right? Is a couple people putting in thousands of hours and it's over. It's like there's a bunch of new tech and new,
and there's always new weapons and there's new maps and shit that I haven't played and don't know how to run on.
They're still adding weapons to that game, aren't they?
Yeah, like basically every weekend they add a new weapon, and like every couple weeks they add a new map. Just this last weekend, last weekend, they added a new map, which I was just playing on this morning. Seems pretty cool. They added like a couple new weapons and some new special weapons and a new salmon run map, which is like the horde mode. So they've added a bunch of new stuff, which is cool. It keeps it kind of going. It's not a super featureful game. Like there's not a lot of things in there. It's just kind of simple and it works that way. But it's nice that they're kind of adding stuff for free all the time. There's no
Yeah.
DLC pack or expansion pass. You just get all it for free, which is cool.
So, question, not to like sit on Splatoon 2 forever, but
Yeah.
like the salmon runs, those are like timed windows to play, right?
Yeah.
How does that work? Can you explain that a little bit? Like,
Yeah, so that's one of the points of contest on the game, and really interestingly enough, they just had, I think at PAX, they were interviewing the director of Splatoon and asking why it's set up this way. But essentially, it's on Salmon Run. You can only do it during certain times. I think since the game started, they've increased the times, like they've made them a little wider. But basically, it'll be like a window where Salmon Run will be open from, like 9 a.m. on Friday to like 8 a.m. on Saturday, but then maybe it won't be open at all on Sunday, or it'll only be open for like, it'll typically be like a period of time where it'll be open all the time. And then after that, it'll just kind of close for a day, or just like certain hours of the day where you'd want to play, it just might not be open, which in the game, like in the canon of the game or whatever, they have it positioned as like a part-time job that you're working. So it makes sense in that way. But in the sense of I want to play this mode and I can't play it right now, it's really dumb.
Yeah, that's that typical Nintendo. They
Yeah, it's a
definitely paid
typical
attention in
Nintendo
economy, because that like supply and demand thing they use for literally every item or any game. Now they're using it for actually game content.
Exactly.
Right? So
and I think the
that's
mindset
crazy.
is like, when they want to have people that will play ranked, they want to have enough people that will play the unranked modes, so they don't want everybody always playing Salmon Run. But it's like a lot of people own Splatoon. I don't think that if people just can play Salmon Run whenever they want, that they're never going to play the multiplayer, and that you'll be sitting in like the multiplayer lobby forever. Like, I don't think that would ever happen, but maybe that's their mindset. In the interview, what is an interesting thing was that the director kind of brought this to like a national thing. So like in Japan, obviously where they developed the game, he was saying, in Japan, when you go to, and this is paraphrasing, when you go to like a restaurant and you want like a tea or something, and you ask for like a green tea, and you say, "Can I have sugar?" The restaurant will tell you, "No, we don't have sugar," because aren't supposed to have green tea with sugar, so they don't give you the sugar because that's not how you should have the green tea. And then if you ask, "Oh, can I have some coffee with sugar?" then they'll bring you out sugar, even though they just told you they didn't have it. And he was saying in Japan, they kind of tailor things based on how they believe that they should be enjoyed, which makes sense. I order that way at a restaurant. Like, if the chef wants to make this way, I'll eat it that way. I'm not going to like pick and choose because, what do I know? But it's a weird concept to apply to a video game. So he basically said, at the end, this is the way that we think that the game should be enjoyed, and this is the way that we think people will enjoy the most, even if maybe they don't think that, maybe they don't know, which is weird.
Yeah, I mean, I think he raises interesting examples, but good points. I mean, gamers really don't know what you want. That's just the truth. I think, I guess I understand the mindset. Maybe if you have like a Salmon Run or any of these things open all the time, honestly, maybe they're afraid people are just going to get bored. It kind of increases the longevity of your game. Because I know that if I went to hop on like anything, like if I went to hop on like Halo and you could only do like, I don't know, some random arena match on Saturdays, like I'm probably gonna play every Saturday if I really enjoy it, right?
Yeah,
you're gonna try to get as much of it as you can. So I get it. I was just a little confused because I read something about it and I was like, whoa, I haven't really heard of a game doing that outside of like a Destiny 2,
like a Nightfall
like,
or something.
Nightfall's. But outside of that, like that's an MMO, right? So that's a little different.
Yeah, so that makes more sense.
Right.
Yeah. So kind of a weird situation, but one that I guess I understand. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah. So getting into the news for this week, if you're all set, we've got a little bit of a follow-up to last week's story. 2K, so after Kyrie changed teams and essentially, kind of made the cover irrelevant, 2K Sports has now shown what the updated cover is going to look like for NBA 2K18, complete with Kyrie in his new Celtics jersey. So it looks cool. It looks nice. I don't know if that's like a photoshopped picture, if they had to make one of him in the Celtics jersey, or if that's a real picture now.
Definitely photoshopped.
It's got to be photoshopped, right? Because
right, because it's the exact same pose, right?
No, I think it's a little different one. I think before he was doing like a layup. Now he's like standing, doing a victory pose or something. I don't really know.
No, I mean he was not victorious in that trade, in my opinion. But that's a different conversation.
Yeah, that's a different thing. On that same note, the 2K18 Prelude is now available. So essentially the demo that comes with kind of like the first part of the game. They did the same thing last year, which was kind of cool. Just a good way to kind of get started playing. And then I didn't buy 2K last year, but if you started the game, it kept your progress from the Prelude, didn't it?
Yeah, I think this Prelude thing is like 2 years running, I believe now, because
because they did it last year.
I had one as well where like I played, or maybe it was last year where you played like high school games or something.
Yeah, that's what it was. The Prelude last year was you were playing high school games, which was really
weird. It was really odd back then because you were like, my character was like 6'10".
Yeah, right.
I'm just like dunking on all these children out here. Like, it really wasn't fair. I dropped like 30 points or something in like a high school game, and it was only like a 10-minute game.
Yeah, Me and my buddy made a character in the Prelude who, same ridiculous character who was like 6'8" and had green dreadlocks and like a huge James Harden beard.
Yeah, and
who's just like dunking on like 16-year-olds in a high school game. Made no sense at all, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, but have you played this Prelude, the one that just came out?
I have not. I haven't downloaded it yet.
Okay, so I played it all the way through. So
all the way already?
It's short, man. It's short. It's not. It's just a little teaser, just to get you. You play probably like 2 little scrimmages.
Okay.
Well, I guess it starts off, typical character creation. Now the face scanning is done by your phone app.
Yeah, is it good?
So it's. Well, I mean, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, you saw the picture, like I shared you the picture of me already.
It looked pretty good.
It's pretty close. Yeah, it's the closest I've ever had on a 2K.
Mine always looked terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe it's gotten better now, but
it's definitely gotten better. The only thing about it is it's still kind of weird with the lighting. And I mind you, I only did it in my kitchen though. Like I just turned my lights full blast and just like stood up and tried to position myself in like the best lighting in my kitchen to do it because I was too lazy to go outside or do anything. So
typical Alphonso.
Pretty much. But it's like it's good on one side of my face. The other side of the face, which I haven't really shown to anyone, I had a shadow casted on my face. So it almost brought the shadow on my face as if it was like pigmentation on my skin or something. And it's like I literally have like a probably like a I don't even know, like a trapezoid like shader that's a little bit darker on like my cheek, which is just weird. But regardless, the actual form of the face is pretty close. So I was like, I can live with that. So you just, take the pictures on the app. It's like 12 little pictures for rotating your head 30 degrees left and right. And then you actually log into your Xbox Live or PSN account and connect it. And then when you play in the game, it uploads the pictures. So you push the pictures to their server, they upload it to your game. And then you make your character from there. And this one's a little different. So normally the 2Ks are built around the story of, I'm some young kid, going through high school, going through college. I get drafted. Maybe I get drafted really high. Maybe I don't get drafted high.
Yeah, same thing every year.
Typical NBA formula. Because you have to go to college now. So the only way they could mix it up was now you have a player named, his nickname is DJ, which I thought was weird because I literally put my name as Alphonso Crawford and I still had DJ on my jersey. So it's like I don't know where the hell that comes from.
Well, they always pick like really terrible nicknames. What was it last year? I can't remember what it was last year, but the one with the Spike Lee I think was probably the worst.
It was like Freak something.
It was Freak.
Something to Freak. Oh man.
Frequency.
That shit was so crazy,
terrible.
Man. But
that was like the low point of the series for sure. I was playing that campaign, like the story mode, and I was like, man, this is so bad.
Freak.
So bad.
Yeah, I'm DJ. Apparently, I literally was a DJ. I quit basketball to make music or something for a couple years.
Sure,
and that
why
didn't
not?
work out. So there's this like Jordan event going on in my hometown, and I get invited to play, and I go scrimmage some people there, and I play one game. I kid you not, I did not even do well. Like I dropped like 5 points out of the 21, and then I play one game, and then like after that, like the reporter comes up to me, and it's like, wow, like Alfonso, I see you doing really well out here. How do you feel? What's the next steps? What are you doing in life? I'm like, after dropping 5 points, I'm already getting interviewed. I had like Damian Lillard coming like
pulled you off the street.
Yeah, like it was interesting. So you do like 2 of those matches, and then I got invited to a tryout for whatever team you pick as your favorite team. Being I'm a Lakers fan, of course, I picked the Lakers. And like a Lakers recruiter comes, blah, blah, blah. And mind you, this is nothing, these are really no spoilers. This is Prelude. Like this information is all pretty much out there. And it's just a Prelude. It's a demo. But, the trainer comes, tells you blah, blah, blah. You have an invite, typical 2K stuff. You go play over there with the starters. And that's pretty much it from that point. Like you play, you run a couple games over there and they tell you the typical like, oh, I think you can possibly make it. And then bam, it's like pulls you to the typical screen where it's like, I hope you enjoyed your experience. If you press X, you can now pre-order.
Yeah, you can now pre-order.
Edition, that's $250.
Yeah, they always
includes like.
I've noticed that lately. Every time you go, same with like the Xbox store. Anytime that you're going to it and it's like advertising a game, they're always advertising the special $150 edition with Shaq and 100,000 VC points. I'm like, okay,
I have a gripe with that. I was just thinking about that because I was looking. There's a PSN sale right now going on, or a PlayStation Plus sale where if you buy 2 digital games, you get the third 20% off, which is nice. It's pretty good, I guess. But the issue,
if you have 3 games to buy, I don't know who needs 3 games at once.
3 games through the whole fall though. Through fall.
Okay.
Winter. So you can pre-order games ahead. So I got you. That's a pretty big deal if you're buying new games, right? So. But my gripe with it is on the actual main page in like the PlayStation Store, they only show like the deluxe edition of Marvel vs. Capcom, and they show the legacy edition of 2K, and they show the upgraded edition of Destiny. So I literally overlooked the sale because I was like, I'm not spending $89 on this game. I'm not spending 60 or like 75 or 120 on this or something. But if you actually like go look and click into the sale, they do have the regular editions of it. So yeah, like it's crazy how the stores market you these deluxe and digitals, like especially to kids. It's like, they know that you're going to have that feeling, that like FOMO, right? It's like, I can't not get digital deluxe because there's a Kyrie Irving in-game shoe.
Yeah, right.
Miss out on. Like it's crap. And I understand the marketing, but man, I'm so tired of seeing those like pushed in my face at all times because I'm very selective with what I buy special editions of.
Yeah, yeah, same here. I used to buy a lot of special editions when it came to like cool physical rewards. I've got an Assassin's Creed 2, like Ezio. I've got a statue floating somewhere around my apartment or my parents' house or something. Because like I used to really like all those special editions that came with like cool physical shit. But all these special editions now that just come with like minor in-game cosmetics or come with, like 2K comes with like a bunch of VC, which is basically just a way to like, skip ahead so your character doesn't start out at like 65 like a scrub with the old dirty sweatpants on like usual.
And it's like, I don't care about it.
It's like, I don't care. I'll play the game and I'll get it. Like I bought the game so I can play it. It's the same thing with like Shadow of War, which we'll be talking about a little bit later. But with the microtransactions that came out, they're not cosmetic ones, but they say, you can get all these orcs, all these armors through just playing the game. But for people who don't want to go and take castles and do missions, they can just buy the microtransactions. I was like, okay, well so you're buying the game for $60 and then you're spending more money to not play the game. I was like, I don't understand that mindset.
If that's not the like the biggest first world problem, like demise of human like mindset. It's like I'm buying a game, but I also am paying to not have to play the game. Like,
I just want to like play through it, but I don't want to have to put the time in. So I'd rather just pay extra money to cut out part of it. Yeah,
shout out to Wall-E, good movie. That's what we're becoming. That's what this gaming shit is doing. But yeah, I guess wrap up the 2K thoughts. Pretty good. Give it I think it's worth the play, especially if you just, I do occasionally have an itch for 2K. This might be my year where I jump back in.
Yeah, I tell myself that every year. I'm like, okay, I didn't get it last year. Maybe I'll get it this year, but I probably won't because there's so many things coming out this year that I do really care about that I just like don't think I have the time to play 2K. I am excited though to see that it's on the Switch. That's really cool. I wouldn't buy it for the Switch, being that I own another console, but being able to take 2K on the go and just in general having a full-fledged, it has all the modes, 2K on a Nintendo console is really cool. That's awesome. It's just it's a good sign for the Switch's future.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and I'm busy, definitely busy myself. And if you can get past the terrible like voice acting and things like that, it might be worth it. But it depends, especially now. I guess even to move on, like now we have an idea of a possible Bethesda game. Like, what's going on with that?
Yeah. So Pete Hines of Bethesda Game Studios. So he was quoted just recently over at PAX talking about their upcoming game lineup. So they have a lot of really good games coming out this year. They've got Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus, which I think is one I'll definitely be picking up. The first one was excellent. We've got The Evil Within 2, Skyrim for the Switch, and then they have Dishonored, The Death of the Outsider. So that's like that, that kind of standalone expansion type of thing they've been doing lately with like, Uncharted, Lost Legacy, and other games like that.
Yeah.
So he was quoted saying, when he was talking about all the games coming out, he was like, yeah, we even have a game coming out this year that we haven't even told anyone about yet. They can wait. It won't be so long. And then,
I love that. It just sounds hilarious to me. I don't know why. I just love the way it's.
So, this sounds like it would make sense. I mean, Bethesda is the one who announced Fallout at E3, and then it came out like 2 months later, or 2 or 3 months. So this sounds like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's exciting. I wonder what that is. And so it blows up and everything. And then Pete Hines comes back and says on Twitter, quote, I probably just had a concussion from the beating I took online and was rambling. Ignore.
Yeah, so, he definitely.
I guess we don't have a game coming, or I don't know.
It's the classic case of like that exposing like intellectual property that's not ready, right? So he probably just said something. I guarantee they're working on something, but
yeah.
I think it's either like one of two things. They're working on something that's not ready at all yet, or they're working on something which is really not that special. Like they could be working on an app. You know what I mean? So when you're talking about like games, you have to be very specific, especially in 2017. I mean, although Fallout Shelter is a good game, like don't talk to me about Fallout Shelter.
Yeah, I don't care.
Fall lineup. Like I don't care. I really, really don't.
Or anything with VR. I don't care either, please.
Exactly. That too. Or I don't know. They could have one more small VR experience. That's probably a good point because I know they're really pushing that right now. But I just, like, realistically, does anyone really think we're just going to get a new Elder Scrolls overnight or a new Fallout?
Right.
They make pretty big games. I know that happened once with E3 and Fallout, but there was so much time and so much rumors and circulations and like these URLs going up and these random things that pointed towards that already happening. It was out the blue, but it's one of those things where it's like we foreshadowed it multiple ways already, whereas we really haven't had that now. So I'm not gonna get my hopes up. But I'm interested to see. I wish I knew what he was talking about, and I wish I could be in the conversations when they were probably like, all right, you fucked up. Like, get on Twitter and fix this,
Yeah. And I mean, to piggyback off of that, I don't know if you ever saw this rumor that just recently happened, but on at Target.com, there was a page that went live, never really was explained. It just said Bethesda, and then Game of Thrones. And Bethesda, right? And then Bethesda has said in the past that they were working on a new IP or like a new game franchise that was attached to a big or like a large popular media media franchise.
Interesting.
Like that. So they basically said like we're working
leak
on a game that's attached to an existing big popular movie or TV something media. So that would have made sense. Oh, okay. So the people who are pretty well known for open world RPGs are working on a Game of Thrones game, and that would be attached to a big media, popular thing. But then it was never really explained why that was on Target. But I think it kind of came out and said, I think Bethesda did or somebody did, and came out and said like, no, that's not happening. We're not working on that. But you never know. I mean, people say things all the time. What is it? Who are the people? Oh, Telltale Game Studios, the guys who make The Walking Dead and all those games. They came out like 2 days before I think Gamescom and said like, "Oh no, we're not making a new Wolf Within or Wolf Among Us. We're not making a new Batman series. We're not working on those right now because there were rumors." And then 2 days later, they announced those exact things. So you can never trust it. You never know.
Yeah, which I will say, another gripe that I have is if you're Telltale Games and your games are completely story driven, you're telling a story, you better finish that damn story. I don't want to hear we're not making this anymore.
Yeah,
You've
right.
committed to it. I need an ending. Like that's just how it has to be for me. But yeah, to get back to I completely forgot about that Target page.
Yeah,
that's a good point. I'm interested.
Maybe it'll happen.
Yeah, maybe. I'm interested. I mean, without saying any spoilers, I don't know how you I'm interested on how you make a Game of Thrones game. Like, are you
Yeah,
just
me too. Because
within the
there's so many
universe?
things happening in the TV show that I feel like it would have to be its own separate thing. Like it would have to be years before or something. So it has nothing to do with the current characters. Because
exactly,
it just wouldn't make sense to make a movie or to make a game that has to have a structured towards a movie or towards a TV show that you've already watched and you already know what's going to happen. So, you don't want to just be playing a game version of what you just watched, especially if it's an open world RPG and it's, Bethesda, they're always making things where you can make decisions and you can make choices and branching paths and stuff like that. So that would be awesome applied to Game of Thrones, but I don't know how they would do that.
Yeah, it's tough because it's that timeline, right? Because if you play a game, I want winter. I want winter to come. So if winter comes, where are you in the timeline? Because obviously, in the show, and that's of course the whole premise of the show, right? Because you're always waiting for winter. I don't know. It's hard to have a timeline in the game where that doesn't align with events from the show.
Yeah, where there's not the culmination focus of everything happening in the show that we've been waiting for in the show. But how would we make a video game that doesn't have those things, but that's also unique? It's weird. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, but I'm open to it. It would be kind of cool to be falling through the map on some Game of Thrones, like Game of Thrones regions and every other glitch.
Yeah.
That brings me to a funny tangent, but since Skyrim is coming out on Switch this fall, they were talking about Stardew Valley getting passed, getting the the passing security testing.
Yeah, which sounds great.
The thorough testing for through Nintendo, which is great. And of course, I was reading or something online, and someone was like, "Oh, Nintendo's testing is so super thorough. They make sure that there's no game breaking glitches and all these security things." And I'm like, how the hell are they releasing Skyrim then?
Yeah, right. Skyrim, it's been 6 years. I got the special edition and I loved it. And yes, something, it works better, it runs better.
Right.
But I still get glitches and I still get weird shit happening in that game. And it's been 6 years. It's like it's like they don't even fix some things. I heard in an interview with someone who used to work at Bethesda to where sometimes they just don't fix bugs because they're like, that's not a bad one. And it's just kind of part of the game. Like it's just part of the fun of a Bethesda game is that, they're not perfect.
Yeah,
I was like, that's one way to look at it, I guess.
Bethesda pulled off the finesse of the gaming industry. They made bugs mainstream. Bugs are fun now. People look for bugs. If that's not a finesse, I don't know what is. That's, as a developer, that is all you can ask for. You release something and you have bugs and people are like, "Wow, I love your bugs." What? That's crazy. So
that is a finesse. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to some future news about this whole Bethesda thing, but I'm not going to be waiting up for it this fall.
Yeah, me neither. Now, another new game that is available this fall as of I think just a couple days ago now, on the 6th, if that's right. Destiny 2 is now available. Initial impressions seem to be pretty good. Nobody has really given it a full review yet, which I appreciate because how do you review a game that is so ever changing and there's not even all of the content is there yet. So the first raid will be available on Tuesday, the 12th. And I don't know. We talked about this last week. Maybe we'd get this game if we were stuck in a snowstorm, was what we said last week. But I'm not really interested in it right now. But it's good to hear that from what I understand, a lot of the problems that were in the first game at launch are not here. Like, this seems like a totally different thing than what we got last year.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've been reading, and I watch it on Twitch a little bit. Just because, just give it a look.
It's a good. I mean, it's a great looking game. It's the gameplay is amazing. Some of the beautiful best gunplay that's out there.
It looks like what I wished Destiny 1 was at release, And although I did enjoy Destiny 1 for like that, like maybe first month window, it just looks like they really polished and perfected what they were trying to do in the first one. Now, I will say it doesn't really look like a predecessor, though. Or, a successor, sorry. But it doesn't really look like a successor to the first one. But regardless, I mean, that's all people want, right? They just want Destiny. They don't really want the formula change much. I almost fell for the hype. And a little bit of me is like, I just want a new game. Because I just get like that all the time. But I held strong. I'm not buying Destiny. It looks like it's doing well, and I'm happy for the people who are playing it, but I can also immediately see on Twitch where I can get bored because it looks like, a lot of things that I've already done, so
and that's the thing, on that. The fundamental formula of Destiny has not changed because that's what Destiny players want more of, so there's still those things in there that they're not going anywhere. The game's going to play the same that it always has. It'll maybe be, maybe less grindy from what I hear, maybe more story, more interesting things to kind of pull you along. But once you finish that campaign and you need to get to the raid or you need to get to this power level, because it's not light anymore apparently, there's still that window of, okay, I'm not strong enough, but I need to be strong enough. I just need to keep redoing these same missions over and over again until I get strong enough or I get enough loot from this RNG.
Yeah,
and that's not going to change.
I've just never been an MMO grinder. That's me neither. Really I'm not into it. Down to. Like, even on PC, I miss the World of Warcraft that craze. I respect it, but I'm not one to do the same exact activity over and over and over again, unless it's like a multiplayer arena. If it's not one of those, like, I can't do it over and over.
Yeah. So, it'll be interesting to see how Destiny continues. I heard an interesting thing just a couple of days ago about Destiny is that I wonder if Destiny 2 will get the same kind of traction or popularity or attention that Destiny 1 got, because when Destiny 1 launched, there were so many problems with it that, yes, it was a good game, but it was so popular and so talked about because it was this crazy story of, Bungie, who made Halo, coming together and making this new game, this new supposedly living MMO and all these crazy things that didn't happen and didn't end up being there. And it launched to that kind of disappointment. So people were always talking about it. And then once it started getting better, the story was always like, oh, look, Destiny's better now. Destiny's better now. Yeah. Now that Destiny 2 is out and it's just sort of, a good shooter game, a good game, just another kind of Destiny. It's not the first of its kind anymore. I wonder if it's still going to get the same attention, or if it'll just be, the people who really like Destiny are really going to like it. But, this isn't really making headlines anymore.
Yeah, I mean, for lack of better terms, honestly, I feel like Bungie just kind of got exposed after Destiny 1. And they got exposed in the sense of they're not... they talk a lot about Destiny's lore and what they want to do for gaming, but they're not the same Bungie. They're not trying to just make the classics for generations. They're trying to make money. And Destiny showed you that, the first one. They're trying to make money, and they are making money. And they're making a lot of it. They can continue to make expansions. They come out with the Destiny 2, and there's, the rumors and statements about them wanting this game to be 5 to 10 years long. Like, they're trying to make money. And I respect them for it, but you're not going to fool me. Like, this isn't... I think Destiny 2's hype isn't the same and isn't going to last as long because we already know. Like, we know this isn't... You're not trying to make a game of a lifetime. You're just trying to make some money. And people will play it because it's fun for now, but I don't see Destiny 2 being something where it's like 10 years in the future and you're itching for like, oh my gosh, I need Destiny 2 back. I just wish I had a CD of that still so I could play it. Like, I don't think this will be one. Happen. Yeah, I don't think Destiny 2 will be one that people always continue to talk about. I think, as we get further and further into the Destiny formula,
and more, because what a Destiny 1 lasts 3 years with continuous expansions. Maybe this will go the same amount of time. Maybe this one will go longer now, is what it sounds like. But, I don't think that it's going to continue to be a talking point. I think it'll be like, hey, if you're still playing Destiny, there's this new stuff out to give you more of what you like. But, otherwise, it's still there. It's just kind of the same thing, It'll always be there.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of how gaming is now, right? Things have changed. Like, we have these steady series.
Everything is so iterative now.
Yeah, I mean, like, speaking of, like, Forza's about to come out, another iterative game. I actually really like Forza, though. So I'm a little less hard on that than I am Destiny. But that's the formula. You respect it, so. Yeah,
sometimes you got a good game. You just kind of want to keep releasing it and making it better and better and better. And, with that perfect transition, Forza Motorsport 7 coming out, I can never remember when this game's coming out, if I'm being totally honest.
I have no idea.
It's before the One X, right?
I think they normally have October release windows, right? So I think they're normally like October 10th or 15th type of game.
Okay, so we'll go with October. So it's gone gold now. So officially gone gold, which, is about a month. That's typically we were talking about this last week with 2K. I think about a month is pretty typical, or a month and a couple weeks. But it's gone gold now, so the game is officially being disked and printed and whatnot. And it's getting a demo on September 19th, so just a little over a week. So that's exciting. I'll be downloading it. I've played a little bit of Forza 5, played a little bit of Forza 6. The only ones I haven't played, which is sad because those are supposedly the most exciting ones, are Horizon. So I probably won't be buying Forza 7 this year. I might just wait for next year for Horizon 4, which I presume will be coming out. But nice to have a demo for people to check out.
Yeah, I'll definitely play it. As for buying Forza 7, I'll never say never, because that could honestly be a Scorpio game.
Exactly, yeah. So you need something to look at in pretty 4K and 60 frames.
Yeah, for sure, and it really is pretty. Those games are beautiful, so I can imagine how it's going to look on a Scorpio. Yeah,
so I wonder if, say you have a Scorpio, right? I wonder if the demo will run in 4K 60. Because that would be a fun demo just to check it out, even if you don't want to buy the game. I wonder if it'll play in 4K 60.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. I don't know. That's a good point, because the 4K assets are like a separate download, right?
Yeah, and they're probably not small.
Technically, no. So technically, they should be able to package like Forza 7 and have an option for the 4K assets. But maybe they're just not going to release it now, because who can use it anyways, right?
Yeah, exactly. They probably would update that later when the game actually launched, but that'd be kind of cool. That'd be a fun way, because like I said, I probably wouldn't buy Forza, but I would love to see what it looks like when I get my Scorpio up and running. And
definitely.
I'd like to see if that demo could do that. That'd be pretty cool. I'd be totally down for that.
I'm pretty sure they'll plan for something like that, because unless you buy that on release date, I don't know. You might not immediately come home and have games with 4K packages ready. Then again, I don't know. I swear I think I saw something about them releasing the 4K upgrades for some of the games early, so you can download them beforehand. But I don't know too much about that yet.
Yeah, they said at Gamescom, Aaron Greenberg was talking about how, or Mikey Barra, one of those two, was talking about how when sometime prior to the Scorpio's launch, they'll have an update tool where you can go in and download the 4K patches for your games that are coming up. They'll also have a transfer tool if you have multiple Xboxes in your house and want to just transfer from one storage to the other. But that's cool. I'm excited about that, because I'll be definitely doing that, on all the games that I have that will be enhanced. I'll be downloading those patches. And it's nice that you don't have to do that right when you get the console. So it's cool that you can do it in advance, because I do imagine that those will be huge downloads.
Yeah, that's the worst part of this generation, is getting home with a new game
Absolutely
console.
The worst.
I got my PS4 Pro 3 weeks ago or something, came home and I'm like, all right, what are we going to play? And I didn't have a disc, and I'm like, fuck. You sit there, download The Last of Us, downloaded whatever, I downloaded Bloodborne. And I'm like, I've wasted a whole day. I'm pretty sure my ISP's crying inside, because I immediately just turn up and download 500 gigabytes of content.
It's out of control.
Some people literally have bandwidth limits.
Exactly.
So if you have a bandwidth limit and you're buying a new console, it's GG, man.
Good luck.
You might as well wait for, could you imagine that? You go to play online and it's yo, let's get in some Forza. You're my bandwidth limit is up. I have to wait till, if you can give me 2 weeks, I can, like, that's ridiculous. So
yeah, it sucks. That's I still, I buy digital games like on sale, but for my new games, whenever I buy like a brand new game, I pretty much always go physical. I just like having a shelf of games. I like, discs and I don't know, I just do. But I mean, every time I go get a brand new game and I come home, I don't expect that I'm going to play it that night, or at least not for 3 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Things have changed. Unless you preload a game, unless you're pre-ordering and preloading digital, times have changed. It's not like, like Halo 4, I think midnight release, come home, throw that in there. Like, I mean, like even I think Halo 4 was like one of the first that had like an install when you got
I think it did. For like the multiplayer, you had to like install it.
Yeah, because I remember I had a USB drive that I plugged into my Xbox 360 to put the extra assets on there, which is probably terribly slow.
Probably.
But yeah, but even that was only like 25 minutes or something, and I remember complaining about that, like not knowing that fucking 6-7 years later,
that the future was bleak.
Games. I don't even play games on release day anymore. Who does that?
Yeah, you can't. It's impossible now. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But speaking of 7s going gold, did you like that? Resident Evil 7 will be getting a gold edition. Nice. That was unintentional. So that's going to have essentially like a Game of the Year edition, whatever they always have. But it's going to have all the upcoming DLC. There's, I think, 2 more DLCs coming out, and all the currently released DLC in one package. That'll come out December 12th, 2017, which is cool. This is a game I never played. At some point, I've watched enough gameplay of it, like at the beginning, to know that this game would freak the shit out of me. So maybe I won't play it, but maybe I will. I don't know. This is a good option, though, for those who kind of are looking for a nice new entry into the game, though.
Yeah, I definitely want to give it a try. I played the demo. I do like horror games.
Oh, that demo was terrifying.
Man, I love horror games, but they take me a while because 2 reasons. First off, my girlfriend is like terribly afraid of anything ever.
Mine too.
That moves. Like if I even mention, like I said the word "it" last night, and she was uncomfortable for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, not happening. Huh?
But yeah, so I cannot play those when she's in the room per se. But I can put headphones on and just play do whatever I want to do. But honestly, I get kind of scared myself, especially like when I played Evil Within. That game took me a while. I had to do it in bits and pieces because some of it was just like I don't mind horror themes, but the screen pops and the jump scares, like those are just not fair in a game. It's not like a movie where it's like, okay, jump scares, I'm not jumping in a movie theater. I'm not as connected to it, I'm not. Yeah. I'm just mentally not in it the same way.
Playing it is different than watching it, man. It's so much scarier.
Playing the game. Like when I'm playing a game and I have to hide in a closet, like that is me in that closet in my head. Like I'm in that closet. Something turns or just pops up in front of me, like that's gonna scare the shit out of me. So I definitely will play Resident Evil 7, but I mean after Evil Within 2 though. So
yeah, coming soon. Same kind of thing for me playing Alien. I've never really played horror games, but that's kind of gotten me more into it. So I'm going to start trying some more, I think. But man, that game would scare me a lot. Because you're there. So I'm sitting there watching. I love the Alien movies. They don't scare me. They're really good. But when I'm sitting there in the game, hiding under a desk, watching this giant alien walk by me, or when I'm sprinting away from it and it shoves its tail through my chest and eats me. That's really scary, So
yeah,
it's tough.
That game captured those are the two things spot on. Those are the two things in scary games that get me. If I'm hiding gets me. Hiding and running, because those are real fears. A real fear of mine.
Can I run away fast enough before I die? Yeah,
something attacking me and I'm hiding in a closet, or you're running. And it's you don't want to look back. And especially in a game, because it's in real life, looking back is easy. You can look back real quick. But in a game, you got to turn your whole analog stick. And it's that shit, it's you want to look back because it's natural. But at the same time, you just know, okay, keep running forward, keep running forward, keep running forward. And it's intense. So I have that game on my hard drive. Have not given it a chance yet. Yeah. But I have it. And I know it's great, just from what everyone else has told me and watching a little bit of it on Twitch, but it's just a backlog. So,
Yeah. next item here is interesting. So an interesting thing under Microsoft's little umbrella. So now that they're publishing, or at least helping with publishing, whatever's going on over there, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and of course publishing Sea of Thieves. Apparently, there was a conversation between PlayerUnknown himself and the guys over at Sea of Thieves talking about the water effects and the water physics on Sea of Thieves, which I mean is some of the best water in a video game I've ever seen.
Yeah, the
right?
water is beautiful. Like
it's insane looking.
That tech demo was, or I guess this was a regular demo. That wasn't even a tech demo. It looked great. Like especially in the end when you like jumped in the water, off the boat. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. So apparently, PlayerUnknown has been talking with them about sharing some ideas and sharing some tech to get the water physics in PUBG, and then apparently, doing some sort of trade to give some information or give some ideas to Sea of Thieves. I don't really know what PUBG could share to Sea of Thieves to make it make sense, other than I guess like weapon tech or like projectile kind of stuff, because I did see they were working on how their guns fired and things recently. Maybe that could be something. I don't know. But I thought that was kind of interesting. Kind of a cool, idea of sharing between two different publishers with completely different games.
Yeah, I like that. And I mean, I think that's what PUBG is. That's where they're at right now as a developer.
Very community focused, right?
Yeah, they're in that moment where it's like they're independent, but they are easily, I don't know, it sounds like they're ready to be kind of moved over to Microsoft's ecosystem, which is good and bad. I'm sure there's going to be PC players who will whine and say, oh no, we don't want this to turn into some console sellout or something, blah, blah, blah. But honestly, more money, better game, to be honest.
Yeah.
PUBG is really doing well. Randomly too. It just came, like PUBG is
real surprise.
Counter-Strike's numbers, games like that, like they are dropping.
It's the number one
viewership and
game on
playership,
Steam now, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
it's crazy.
They have something good going. And if they can put more money into bug fixes, they have a new map, which for like that battle royale to have more than one map is pretty awesome. Like,
yeah, because those maps are massive.
I'm all for it. Like, make as much content as you want. Like, let Microsoft, if they can have some, some deal with Microsoft where you get exclusivity, but they can kind of still stick to what they truly believe in themselves, which of course is tough. But if they can have a deal like that, I'm all for it. And
I can't
get
wait
all
for
the
that
assets
game.
you want. Take the
I can't
water
wait for
from
that game to come up on what game preview for early access. There we go. I can't wait for that game to come up on early access for Xbox.
Yeah, for sure.
Really excited.
Take the water from Sea of Thieves. Take the snow from fucking Tomb Raider. Take the blood from Gears of War. I don't care. There we go. Yeah. Take everything. Take it all.
For another game coming out here, supposedly next year, along with PUBG, No More Heroes Travis Strikes Again. So this will be the third game in the No More Heroes series. It's a Nintendo exclusive series published by Suda51. And have you played any of these games?
Honestly, I have not. I really know like the absolute least about these. The Switch was the first, outside of I guess my 3DS. But my Switch was probably my first big Nintendo console I've had in a very, very, very long time. And even on 3DS, I was playing really popular titles. So
yeah. So these are supposedly, I have not played them either. I feel like, I don't know why, they were both on the Wii. So there was 1 and 2 on the Wii.
Yeah,
and I feel like I remember seeing them, but I don't think I've ever played them. But I've
The name
heard,
is definitely familiar, but is it like a war game? Like what is it?
No, it's like an action RPG. Kind of like a Bayonetta or like a Nier kind of hack and slash kind of combo game is what I believe it is. Kind of like one of those third-person action RPG things. And I've heard it is really good. I've heard it's a great series. And it was announced during the Nindies event. So Nintendo's like little indie event that they do alongside like a new Super Meat Boy coming out.
Super Meat Boy.
Yeah, I know, right? And like that game's been around so long now. But announced alongside other couple little indie games. But this is interesting. Something that, comes out on the Switch. I'll probably pick it up if it's good, if it's got some good reviews. Or I've heard great things about it. So this could be a cool thing to hop into on the Switch. It's always nice to see any new game on the Switch, to be honest. So thought it was interesting.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I'll possibly give it a try. Honestly, the Switch lineup is I'm so proud. Like,
It's really, really good for the first
yeah,
year. I mean, it's crazy.
phenomenal.
We're only 6 months in, barely over
Especially,
6 months in. And we've got
especially with
so many
that,
games coming out.
especially with that Rockstar announcement, man. It
Exactly.
is great.
Yeah. So on that note, so Rockstar has just announced that LA Noire is going to be returning with an updated complete edition that's going to be on all the current generations of consoles, including the Switch, Xbox One, PS4, and then also the HTC Vive, which is the VR set. So supposedly the Switch version will feature a exclusive touchscreen enhancements. It'll have some gyro controls, and then they also said it'll have a sort of an expanded over-the-shoulder lens view, so a little bit of a different kind of viewing angle, I guess. I'm not sure why. Maybe that's just like to make it easier to play on handheld or something like that. I don't know what's going on there. But then the PS4 and Xbox versions are going to have enhanced lighting, all sorts of other technical advancements, and then they will have 4K enhancements for the Xbox One X and PS4 Pro. So that's cool. That's exciting.
Yeah, I was excited to see that the Switch is. They didn't really get little bro in a way. Like they have the full
right,
game.
Exactly.
Like they don't have 4K assets, obviously, but they have the full game. It's not stripped down. It has the downloadable content, right? It's
got all the DLC. That's a lot. That's a big deal. When it came out, LA Noire was a really, really popular game, really well regarded, really high scores. It was pretty crazy. I don't know. Have you ever played it before?
No, I missed it. But I know that people, of course, it's another game that's really a lot of good reviews. So I'm looking forward to it. And this is exactly what I wanted the Switch to do in a way. It's like I definitely want the new titles, and I'm excited for those to come this next year. But if you want to open my eyes to something that I missed out on, that is a first for me. So this could be just an amazing experience on the Switch. Like I don't care about 360 or whatever. Like I don't care about that. Like good for all those people who have those memories. But this is going to be really exciting for me. I feel like I'm getting a brand new game. So
exactly, yeah, same here. So my roommate had played it, and I've seen a bit of it, and it looks awesome. I mean, it's a really cool looking game. But I never played it myself, so I am excited to play it. It's basically like you said, a new game to me. Yeah. Now, I will say this puts me in an interesting position. So this is the first time this has happened now, and it might be, something that continues to happen, especially like with 2K coming out, and now this and like FIFA and other games that are getting parity across all three. Is that now it's going to be sort of a decision. Like, okay, do I want to play in 4K, enhanced version on my Xbox One X, or do I want to pick up this game, which will have all the same features and whatnot, on my Switch so I can play it portable?
Yeah.
That's a position that's really interesting to be in now. Is do I want this version that's like a graphically enhanced version to play at home, or do I want it so I can take it on the go?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, this I'm definitely probably gonna get on Switch. I think a lot of my decision making with that is like how long I feel like I'm gonna be playing the game. So if I'm gonna be playing it for a while and like I'm gonna be really dumping hours into it, I'm going console just because I want those. I want that 4K assets, all that stuff. But this is the perfect game to just have with me on the airport. When I'm traveling for work, traveling for going to see family. I'm at lunch break at work or something like that. This seems like the perfect game to fill that gap. So that's kind of how I judge it in a weird way. Like 2K is another game where like if I buy that, I'm definitely buying it on console. And that's just because I'm either doing one of two things with 2K. I'm either not playing it at all, or I'm playing it for a very long time.
Yeah,
I'm never in between, and I don't think there's gonna be. Although the idea is good, I don't think there's gonna be a lot of times where I pull up with my Switch and I hand a Joy-Con to someone and we play 2K. I don't see myself doing that. So
yeah,
that's why it just makes more sense for me to be on console.
Yeah.
But I mean, the other thing, it's like outside of just deciding, or outside of trying to decide what's going to be the best gaming experience between the consoles, now we have this, the price parity, which I will say is slightly bullshit in a way, right? Because we see the Switch version costs more than the Xbox and PS4 version, which I understand because it's the cartridge prices, right?
Exactly, yeah. Those cartridges are supposedly really expensive.
But what came up that kind of exposed previous developers was that the prices of making physical copies of these games are actually identical, right? If the cartridge is less than 8 gigabytes. So the cartridges go, of course, on like memory size, right? So if the game is less than 8 gigabytes, then it's the same exact price. But we still had like Rime. I'm calling you out, Rime specifically. Like you bullshitted everyone and said that your game needed to be $40 versus the $30 on other games for your physical copy, but you were under 8 gigabytes. So you just finessed $10 from everyone who bought that game.
Another finesse.
Yeah, it's like if you're gonna, I'm okay, and I understand the cartridge like memory prices right now. Things are really, really crazy in the computing world. Like DDR4 RAM is like the same price. It's actually more expensive than it was last year at this time. It's just things are wild because of all this like data mining and all that stuff. I get that, but I don't want to see. If you're gonna charge me more for the physical, it needs to be justified. And if you're gonna if I'm gonna buy it digitally, I would like to have the same price. Like I don't want to pay extra if it's digital, you know?
Yeah, and we've had some instances in the industry now. Like Ryan was one of them, and I think there's been a couple others where the physical was more expensive, but they did at least lower the price of the digital version because the physical was more expensive, but they want to at least have parity on that digital price, which makes sense, especially if you don't have to add in that extra cost, but still not a great, sort of a half-measured solution. This is based on this game supposedly running $39.99 on other game consoles and $49.99 on the Switch. That's usually what we're seeing is that $10 difference. But that $10 makes a big difference, I mean, if I'm going to buy the game and I'm going to buy it on launch day, am I going to spend $10 more for the exact same game? It's not good for the gamers who, first of all, only have a Nintendo Switch and couldn't pick it up on the cheaper copy. And it's also not great for, the publicity of the company. But then it kind of makes it look like, hey, this is the one thing I always hate when it comes to games on the Switch lately is, hey, we're making this game. If people buy this, then we'll maybe make another game. Like FIFA said that, like EA, they said, we're putting out FIFA to test out the support. Capcom did the same thing. Capcom frustratingly did it with the release of, like a 15-year-old game with Street Fighter 2. But it's
which actually surprisingly did really well.
Did really well.
They sold like 400,000 copies in like the first month or something.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming. But it's like, maybe people don't buy LA Noire on the Switch because it's more expensive. So then maybe Rockstar goes, people on the Switch don't really care about our games. We're not going to make any more. And that's, not great. Grand Theft Auto 5, wouldn't that be great on the Switch? Maybe like Red Dead Redemption 1, wouldn't that be cool on the Switch? I mean, there's all these great opportunities. This $10 price thing just kind of makes it a little weird.
Yeah, definitely. And I've had a lot of gripes. Maybe I'm just angry, but Capcom, your dicks for the Street Fighter 2 thing, especially as a barometer for your console, because you released Street Fighter 2 for the 30th time, and it's $40.
$40, come on! That's
crazy. I was honestly surprised 400,000 people paid that because I love fighting games and I'm a big Street Fighter fan, and I couldn't do it. Like I am not paying $40 for Street Fighter 2. I've had it on almost every console. I can't do it. It's just.
That's out of control.
It's like I'm tired of paying for it at this point. Like it's ridiculous. But I'm happy that it worked out well wherever it was selling. So I think it sold really well in Japan.
Probably. I think the Switch population in Japan is very high.
Yeah, and it's ridiculous. It's crazy actually. They have like a fight stick already for the Switch. I don't even know like that. They took it. I mean, they love it. But I guess it worked out. But you're still dicks for that because that was a setup. And it almost did not work in our favor. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And now beyond that, essentially what they've been releasing is just a bunch of Resident Evil remasters and remakes. So, now we've got the support on the Switch from Capcom. Whoop-de-doo, all we're getting is remakes of old Resident Evil games. So, not the most exciting thing.
Yeah. It's crazy, man.
Yeah. Anyways, on to the next piece here. So, Warner Brothers Interactive. So we talked a little bit about Shadow of War earlier. me and you talked about this last week. This is a game that I was extremely excited for when I first saw it announced, and I have become continuously less excited for basically every subsequent day since then, just because we had the microtransactions, we the loot boxes and all that. They're partnered with Totino's now to send so you can get loot box codes by buying Totino's pizzas and just all these other ridiculous kind of.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, exactly. And they have crazy DLC packs, and they have a version of the game that comes with it's $300 and comes with a statue. There's a regular version, a silver version, a gold version, and a mithril version. It's do we need all of that? Can't we just buy the game? So this game's getting on my nerves. But anyways, so we've got a story here, really interesting, something that could be a really nice gesture, but maybe is not so much. So Shadow of War is going to be having a new DLC in honor of Monolith's former executive producer, Michael Forgey, who passed away in 2016 from a brain tumor during the development of the game. So a really sad situation. He was said to be a really kind, a really helpful, nice guy who would always hop in and help anyone out on the team when they were in need. He was also a member of Orc Slayer, which is a band made up of Monolith employees, that's pretty awesome.
That's a dope name.
Isn't that awesome? So to immortalize his memory, Monolith, the developer of the game, they created an orc companion in the game by the name of Forthog, which was apparently his nickname, Forthog Orc Slayer, who will essentially serve as a sort of mysterious stranger type of follower. If you remember that from Fallout, where he just kind of comes up and saves you, it'll be sort of the same situation. So when you're near death or when you're dying, he'll come in every now and then and he'll save the day with his guitar battle axe and kill the orc and save your life, which is pretty cool. That's a really fun way. It's a really nice gesture. I mean, that's super cool for a game that this man worked really hard on, to put him in the game for an immortalization, to always have him in there as someone who will come in and save the day when you most need it, just like he was in real life. Now, beyond that nice gesture, it gets a little bit more complicated. The tribute of having him in the game is actually a day one DLC that will cost $4.99. But $3.50 of every purchase will go to the 4G family, only through December 31st, 2019. So this brings up a couple interesting points. So first of all, why charge for it if they're just having him in the game? But I get that, okay, they're doing it so they can get donations. Only $3.50 of that is going towards the family, but most likely the other half of the other portion of that is probably to pay the digital vendor, so Steam, Microsoft, or Sony, who is putting this up there, right? Because they usually charge a 30% fee or something like that.
Yeah, so I understand that. I mean,
yeah, right. So that part makes sense.
Even outside of that, they probably are just trying to make some, I don't know, even if they pocket a couple pennies or whatever, I'm sure there's a lot of, there is still scripting and assets that needed to be written for that to work the way it does. Yeah. So it's I understand that. That is work that some engineer had to do, so that's fine, I guess.
So, yeah. So the next part here is that it's only until December 31st, 2019. I mean, that's, 2 years after the game will be out. But I'm wondering why. I'm wondering if maybe there's only a certain contract or something after that. But I mean, what if someone buys the game after that and then buys the DLC? What happens to the money after that? Does that go all directly to Monolith or to Warner Brothers? It's kind of odd.
Sounds like it, right?
Right? It would sound like it. Now, the next part is on the video where they announced it. It's a really nice video. They had his picture on there. It's a really well thought out memorial video. At the bottom, though, there was a fine print that said, donations will be made on purchases from any one of the 50 U.S. or D.C., no states, but excluding purchases made from Alaska, Hawaii, Illinois, I think Maine, Massachusetts, and South Carolina.
Yeah, so, see, that's where things start getting weird.
That's where it starts getting weird, right?
Yeah.
So what happens when it's purchased outside of the U.S. or in any of those 6 states?
Yeah, I don't know. Man, I hate to like pick into this because, of course, I mean, this is someone's life. So someone lost their life. You know, they're trying to honor them. But they need to get it together. It's very insensitive. You don't want to have to be like debating over this, like especially his family. This is very insensitive to his family. Like I would hate to be reading this as like a child or, this person's partner or whatever, and you're like, yeah, well, the money, like it's just too many gray areas, right? It should be very clear.
Yeah, it's just a weird situation. It's something that should be really, I think, simple and charitable, but it just seems like there's this weird kind of gray area, this weird kind of complication that's kind of seeping in that I don't like to see online. This has been a big sort of piece of debate for the last week or two, and it shouldn't be that. It shouldn't be anywhere near that.
Yeah, it like I said, I don't even have much to say. It's so like, I guess I feel so bad about it. It's so distasteful. That I don't know. And who knows, maybe their intentions are right and they have a good explanation for everything and it all makes sense and they're really doing the right things. But if in any way they are profiting or, again, finessing,
yes,
you're wrong for that. You're wrong for that. And I would imagine that was going to cause some issues internally as well. Because if we're saying this from the outside, I can imagine what the actual developers and friends of this person are saying from the inside, where it's like, this was our friend, like we are not going to profit off of him.
Absolutely.
Like, that's fucked up. It's just I don't know, man.
And so beyond this, they have come out and they said neither Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment nor Monolith Productions will profit from any sales of the Forthog Orc Slayer DLC, regardless of the territory in which the DLC is sold. So that's a nice statement to hear. It's good to hear. It's certainly what I would like to hear. It's just interesting to see how this will kind of play out based on just sort of the weird gray area that's kind of come into something that I think could have just been a simple, maybe they could have just done a charitable donation to the family.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Like, why do you instead of having to make?
Why do you not just say, hey, after our first week of sales, we're giving this percentage or something, like to get fans out to buy the game immediately.
Yeah,
like
they could have just done that.
I think that could sway some people's minds, like who maybe are on the edge about this franchise, or like they really like the first, or maybe even a person like you, right? Like you like the first one and you're kind of thinking about getting the second one, but maybe not immediately. But you come out and you see it all, like, a developer actually passed away and this is, kind of like a fundraising thing and you're going to buy it anyways. So, you might as well just buy it in this time frame so you can actually give to a cause, things like that. Like that's something that could work.
Yeah.
I just don't think it should have been, I don't know, regardless of what they say, if the money's not going to their own profits and things like that, it just, like, why? You didn't have to do it this way. I think this is you added a bunch of controversy that was not necessary at all.
Yeah, absolutely. A bunch of controversy that should not be there at all. It should just be a nice charitable gesture for, who seems to be a really nice guy, a really great guy who worked hard on a game, immortalizing him in the game and making a nice tribute for people who play it or for the people who worked with him to see this guy in the game. Didn't have to turn into something controversial. And, maybe that's only partially more so because it's Warner Brothers and this game has been having controversy for months now. Maybe that's why this has become such an issue. Maybe it wouldn't be such a problem if it was, a different company. But just, sort of a bummer to see. Hopefully this will be something that they can maybe release some more clarity on so people can just understand that when they are making the purchase of this DLC or when they are, they really are giving the money to the family. Because that's, no one necessarily just needs to spend $5 for a random orc for no reason, but doing it in a way that's donating to the family is important.
Yeah. I think they should not underestimate as well how ready gamers are to shun away developers or a company. Like it's in 2017, like there's so many games coming out. It's like that PR and marketing have to be top notch now. Like you hear negative, like the example of like Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Like there's a lot of people who haven't even seen gameplay of it, but they've seen these pictures of like shitty ass like Chun-Li faces and stuff like that, and they're immediately done. Like anything, any word of mouth, anything that spreads on social media, that will impact your sales. And it's especially in this fall lineup too, because it's like, why? There's a bunch of other things I could buy with that money, right? It's like I don't have to give you guys, if I don't really agree with what's going on, or there's one really popular blog post or video that's made about you, or a podcast that talks about you in a bad way, and everyone is influenced by that, they will go put their money in probably the other 8 or 9 other potential purchases. Like we have like Super Mario Odyssey, we have like LA Noire now, we have like Call of Duty, we have Star Wars Battlefront, we have an Uncharted game that just came out, we have a Forza, we have Destiny 2 that just came out. Like you have all your typical sports games, you have Assassin's Creed. Like we do not have to buy your game. Like so be very, 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 very careful with dealing with these things up until your release. I don't know. I'm sure everything will work out for the best.
Yeah, I'm
everything
hoping
will be
so.
fine. And I'm sure, and I hope, I hope that man's family gets, maybe the money that they could use for anything, for maybe help his kids go to college, or maybe pay for some funeral services or their house or whatever. I just hope they get the money that they could easily use.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I mean, this is something that I'd like more clarity on, because this is something that I would certainly do if I bought Shadow of War. I would absolutely buy it, knowing that
of course
that money's going to the family. Even if you don't have Shadow of War, you could probably buy this DLC, even if you don't support the company or you don't support the game. If you at least wanted to support the family, I imagine that you could still just buy. I mean, it's separate DLC. You could just buy the DLC for $5 and send your $3.50 to the family. So things like that are interesting. I hope we see some more context on this going forward.
I'm assuming I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, and I'm assuming they're approaching this like a bunch of other esports games from like approach the issue of, oh, hey, we have a $5 DLC, $3.50 of this goes towards our tournament pool. I'm assuming they just took that idea and they're like, why don't we just give that money to his family? And in that case, that's fine. That's okay. Like, but just you gotta be careful with that stuff, because you're dealing with these are real things. Like, this isn't a game.
These are real people.
This is
isn't
real
just
life
something
stuff,
that you
right?
made. This is a real person. Yeah,
so
it's different than usual.
I hope things work out, and maybe I'll give that game a try later. Maybe if it's like Black Friday sale, I might pick it up. So
yeah. On that same point, kind of to piggyback off what you were talking about with developers these days, I definitely agree. I think that nowadays in 2017, gamers are kind of fed up. I've kind of had enough of some of these just kind of bullshit or shady practices with games with all the ridiculous DLCs, games that release not completed, and have all these problems at launch only to be fixed. Obviously, when a game releases, you have to keep working on it and fix it. Obviously, that'll always be a process now that we're in a digital age. But these games that get released prior to being in a state that should ship, like look at Mass Effect. From what I've read, and I've had a friend who's played it, not a terrible game by any means, not a bad game, but launched with so many problems even before it launched. With they had that EA Access trial, the issues with the facial animations and the glitches and all those problems essentially made that game DOA when it arrived.
Yeah. If you look at, even another example, to get back on ripping Capcom, like Street Fighter V, when that released last year. They released a fighting game that didn't have an arcade mode or a story mode. What? That makes no sense. The first version of that game was so bare bones.
So what could you do?
You could play online. You could do versus, and there was like 10 or 15 characters or something already. But everything else after that, you have to pay for. They've updated. They have now added, I think, Actually, I don't even know. I think they finally went back and added an arcade mode, maybe, but then they made season passes for their characters, where like for $30 you get
Why
like
would
5
they not?
characters. Yeah, it's like that shit. That's bullshit. Like I don't even think. Maybe I'll even take my words back in a way. Like I don't even think gamers are just like very like finicky or sensitive right now to issues like that. But it's like we've endured so many years of bullshit now. It's getting like I'm about fed up. And
Me
I
too.
think everyone's feeling like that. Like it's not like it was back in Xbox 360, like Halo 3. You
Not
buy
even
the
close.
game and then you buy the little like map packs for like $15 or something. Like I felt like I was getting my money's worth. But now I question that, and that's exactly kind of what I said earlier with Bungie and Destiny too. I honestly question if I'm getting my money's worth. When you have to buy this game, then you have to buy the Taken King expansion, then you have to buy this expansion. And it's like, yes, I get it. World of Warcraft was doing expansions, but anyone who played World of Warcraft, and like friends that I know who played it, have all said that those expansions are worth it. Like they changed the game. Like they completely changed the meta of the game. It's different. I'm just not here for the finessing of gamers. No finessing.
No finessing. Yeah, I'm over the finessing. And I mean, nowadays, back in the 360 days, like you were saying, you would pay, however much for a map pack on like Halo 3 or something.
Yeah.
And, they were reasonable back then. But nowadays, in almost every game, you're being asked to give your money blindly to buy a season pass. So, this used to, I remember the very first season pass that ever happened. It was the most popular one, at least. It was Call of Duty when it first happened. And it was like, okay, you get 4 map packs for $60 or whatever, but you buy the season pass, you get it for what, like 40 or 50. So you save some money. I'm like, okay, I get that value. And I did buy one of those in the past because I was so big on Call of Duty back then. But nowadays, that practice, people have seen, okay, Activision can finesse and get all these people to pay double for the game at launch, essentially just waiting to see what they're going to get. And now it's seeped into every other type of game. So, Shadow of War, of course, has one. Even Zelda had one, very reasonably priced, but even Zelda had a season pass. I mean, every game has one these days. And I'm tired of it. It's frustrating to see. You're just paying extra money at the beginning to get, who knows what. You can buy it later also. It's like they try to get you to buy it at the beginning like you have to. It's like I can always just wait, and see what content comes and then buy it then. But that's not what they're trying to get you to do. That's why they have all these digital deluxe, gold, whatever editions where you pay, twice the price of the game to get all that content. It's like, well, I don't need to do that. I'll just buy the game, and I can buy the game, 6 months from now for $30 probably, and then maybe buy that content.
Yeah,
I'm barely even in for day one games at this point.
No. Yeah, it's crazy because it's like I remember back in like 2012, 2011, or 2013, whatever it was, somewhere in that range. I was like, wow, how can gaming get any worse? Now we have online passes. You remember those, like when you bought Battlefield and you had to
yes, I remember those in the 360 era.
Code. So you could only play online if you had that code, and if you bought the game used, you had to buy the pass. I was like, oh my gosh, how can it get worse? This is ridiculous. And then microtransactions and season passes came up. So it's now
loot boxes that are in every game now.
Yeah, it's literally just purely finessing. Like Gears of War 4, I bought the season pass. The maps are on rotation anyways. The season pass is
Haven't they
worthless.
released all that shit for free in Gears of War 4 now?
It ended up all coming for free. It's worthless.
So what do you get for having the expansion pass?
You get the ability to say, if I want to have a private match or custom matches, then I can kind of play every map. But if you want to play the maps publicly, you can just play them publicly whenever you want. So what they're essentially saying is, if you're gonna be a competitive player, you want to go to tournaments and stuff like that, you should have the map pack, because you need the maps. I mean, obviously you need the maps to be able to play when you're not online. But what they still no one cares about that. Like competitive games have always just used the regular maps. Like you don't use DLC maps competitively unless it was like Halo 3.
Yeah, because not everyone has them.
Yeah, not everyone has them. You play the maps that came with the game. Like, that's how it is. They don't want to have to download the content on a bunch of different, on like 100 different Xboxes in one convention center. Nobody wants to have to do that. It's expensive. It's a waste of time. So yeah, it's worthless. The season pass was worthless. I put money into that for no reason. That like, oh my god, the loot system and the microtransactions in that game are miserable. It takes forever to be able to unlock anything. It's just like,
yeah, that's part of why I felt so burned from Destiny. Is I was so excited for Destiny. Is that I bought the game and the season pass at the same time, and then by the time that the first expansion came out, I was like, I'm not going back to that game, and I just wasted $50 on that stupid expansion. So I paid like double for that dumb game and only played it for a month. Did the season pass
even include all of the expansion?
No, that's even like a worse thing. You buy a season pass and you got the 2 first expansions, which was like the Dark Below and whatever that second one was, and then they like revamped it at year 2 with Taken King, and that wasn't included, and then there was another expansion or 2 beyond that wasn't included. So that's a game that you pay $50 for. That's like the ultimate example. You pay $50 for the season pass, and then you still don't even get all the content. You got to pay like another $50.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Fuck that, man. No.
We're in a very unfortunate time of video games right now, I think.
Yeah. Definitely, man.
Yeah. Any, after all that angry ranting, any final thoughts, Alphonso?
Nah, not much, man. I think I got it all out, cleared my system.
Yeah, right. Get to vent it all out.
Yeah, episode 2. It's another good one. I think it's been good. I'm just going to get back, hopefully beat The Last of Us this weekend.
Nice. What's your next game? Bloodborne?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Nice.
The plan. But we'll see about that. I feel like I might end up changing something around, but...
Nice. Once I finish Bayonetta, that's my palate cleanser. I'll probably go back to Metro, try to finish those. But man, those games are tough and taking a lot of time. So I might, I've been bouncing back and forth between games lately. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's how it works sometimes. But
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Right on, man. Well, I'll see you next week.
Yeah, of course, man.
The Pixelated Podcast is the official podcast of video game website pixelatedgaming.com, hosted by me and my co-host, Alphonso Crawford. You can find us on podcast services like Apple Podcasts and Google Play, where you can leave us a review if you've enjoyed the show. And be sure to check out our website for all of our additional content. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.